Several PAS leaders have hit back at Ahmad Zahid Hamidi on his wish to see PAS dissolve on its own. Meanwhile, a PAS leader has cautioned against elevating Ahmad Samsuri Mokhtar to the position of PN chairperson. Stay tuned for this and more on KiniNews. PAS Information Chief Ahmad Fadhli Shaari has responded to Umno President Ahmad Zahid Hamidi's remarks, suggesting that PAS should dissolve. Fadhli said PAS is confident that its political relevance can outlive Amno. In a post on Facebook, he stressed that he is not calling for Amno to be dissolved, noting that the party still has its own role, distinct strengths, and contributions that remain necessary. However, he said that when compared with PAS, he firmly believes the Islamist party's political lifespan will be far longer than Amno's. Fadhli added that while it is commendable that Amno has incorporated Islam into its party constitution, the alleged indecisiveness of Amno makes it more crucial for PAS to continue its struggle. In a speech at an Amno-related event yesterday, Zahid said PAS should be dissolved as Amno has included a clause to uphold Islam in its party constitution. According to Bernama, Zahid cited a statement by the late former PAS spiritual leader Nik Abdul Aziz Nikmat, who had said PAS would dissolve if Amno made Islam the foundation of its constitution. Zahid said one of his first moves after assuming Amno's presidency was to enshrine Islam in the party constitution, adding that PAS has yet to dissolve and expressing his belief that it would eventually do so on its own. PAS Vice President Idris Ahmad also responded to Zahid's remarks. In his response, he highlighted Amno's electoral record over the past few general elections. In a Facebook post, Idris pointed out that Amno's parliamentary seat count has been on a steady decline since peaking at 109 seats in the 2004 general election. The trend is clear, he said, noting that Amno has gradually lost ground election after election, ending with just 26 seats in the 15 general election. Idris suggested that as Malaysia is a democratic nation, the two parties can compete in elections instead of asking each other to dissolve. He said they should contest on the democratic stage, not through fistfights or throwing chairs. He stressed that they should compete through arguments, ideas, and moral conduct as politicians and let the people decide on who deserves their support. He also questioned Zahid's claim that Amno is prepared to invite PAS to cooperate in an organization focused on Islamic agendas outside of politics, and that the proposal had received cabinet approval. Idris asked since when party political agendas required cabinet endorsement. In contrast, he said PAS remains steadfast in its principles, continuing to speak about Islam without needing anyone's approval and leaving the final judgment to the people. Yesterday, Zahid said he would announce the establishment of an organization outside the political sphere on the final day of the Amno General Assembly this Saturday, adding that the cabinet-approved initiative was his own idea. From now on, you can also listen to KiniNews on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Scan the QR code on the screen to follow us. Sungai Buloh PAS Chief Zaharuddin Muhammad has said PAS Deputy President Tuan Ibrahim Tuan Man is among the most deserving candidates to become Perikatan Nasional chairperson and, should PAS win at the federal level, Prime Minister. Zaharuddin outlined 3 reasons for his view. In a Facebook post, he noted that in terms of party hierarchy, Tuan Ibrahim holds the position of Deputy President. He added that Tuan Ibrahim also brings cabinet experience, having previously served as Environment and Water Minister. Zaharuddin further said that Tuan Ibrahim is an ulama and, although this was listed third, it is the most crucial requirement. He stressed that a leader must be an ulama, or more precisely, someone well-versed in Islamic jurisprudence, as this requirement is based on a ruling agreed upon through scholarly consensus. Yesterday, Zaharuddin also cautioned against elevating Terengganu Menteri Besar Ahmad Samsuri Mokhtar to the post of PN chairperson, warning that such a move could cost PAS dozens of parliamentary seats. He claimed that internal data and analysis suggest the party could lose up to 37 parliamentary seats if Samsuri were to replace Muhyiddin Yassin as PN chairperson at this stage. Zaharuddin said the projection was based on 3 scenarios and conditions that he could not disclose publicly. However, he added that he would respect any decision formally made through the party's top leadership bodies, including the PAS Central Committee and the Shura Council. A former Besar activist has called on the government to drop its bid to review the federal court's ruling that struck down a key provision of the Peaceful Assembly Act, PAA 2012, as unconstitutional. In a Facebook post, Mandeep Singh reminded Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim of his own past under the same law, noting that Anwar was once charged under the PAA. He said to assemble in protest is the right of the Malaysian people. It is the duty of the government and law enforcement agencies to facilitate the process for citizens who wish to assemble. He added that a government committed to institutional reform should respect the court's decision and defend the right to peaceful assembly. He said, let us not forget that Anwar himself was once charged under the PAA because of Besar 3. Last July, a 5-member federal court bench led by then Chief Justice Tengku Maimun Tuan Mat unanimously ruled that Section 9(5) of the PAA was unconstitutional. The provision allowed organizers to be fined up to 10,000 ringgit for failing to notify the police at least 5 days before a planned assembly. Mandiri Executive Director Amir Haridi Abdul Hadi yesterday slammed the federal administration after he learned that the Attorney General's chambers had applied for a review under Rule 137 of the Rules of the Federal Court 1995, which states that the top courts may review past decisions to prevent any injustice or abuse of process. If you like the stories we produce, consider supporting us by subscribing to Malaysia Kini. Click the link in the description below or scan the QR code on your screen to subscribe. Meanwhile, government spokesperson Ahmad Fadhli revealed that there was a cabinet decision to amend the Peaceful Assembly Act, PAA 2012. However, he did not elaborate on the proposed amendments agreed to by the cabinet last week.
Pada hari ini, Jemaah Menteri telah membincangkan satu keputusan untuk memfailkan review ataupun semakan semula ke atas satu keputusan berkait kes Amir Hariri Hadi mengenai keperlembagaan akta seksyen tertentu dalam Akta Perhimpunan Aman. Dan Jemaah Menteri pada minggu lalu telah membuat satu keputusan dasar untuk membuat pindaan kepada Akta Perhimpunan Aman. Maka pada hari ini Jemaah Menteri telah memutuskan agar maklumat disampaikan kepada Peguam Negara, Jabatan Peguam Negara untuk membincangkan kerana oleh sebab kita telah bersetuju, kerajaan Jemaah Menteri telah bersetuju untuk meminda Akta Perhimpunan Aman, maka apakah wajar untuk diteruskan dengan semakan kehakiman terhadap keputusan yang telah dibuat dalam kes Amir Hariri Hadi ini.
The MACC has detained another high-ranking officer of the Malaysian Armed Forces to assist in investigations into a corruption case involving the force. MACC Chief Commissioner Azam Baki said the officer was detained at 11 a.m. and is being investigated in accordance with the relevant legal provisions. He also said that a former Army chief whose remand order has expired has been released from MACC custody on Monday. He added that the MACC will inform of any further developments regarding the cases in a press conference scheduled to be held tomorrow. Yesterday, Azam announced that an application to extend the remand period for the former Army chief who was detained in connection with the procurement tender corruption case would be made based on the needs of the current investigation. On December 23rd, the MACC visited the Defence Ministry and investigated projects implemented through open tender procurement methods, as well as procurement under the Army Responsibility Centre. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to Kinitv.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, X, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'm Kimilia. Thanks for watching.